G'day BookTube, you're here with Nick, the Renaissance Bookman, and I am excited because 2025 has been a terrific reading year, like all-time reading year for me. It's getting close to Christmas, the ugly sweaters are coming out, and I am keen to start racking and stacking all of the books that I've read in 2025. That's not going to happen in this video. Instead, I'm going to tier rank the first sentences from every single book that I've read in 2025. Why? Well, I got this idea from Marcus Zusak, the author of The Book Thief. Earlier this year, I went to the Newcastle Writers' Festival and I heard him speak, and he talked about how the first sentence is critical for him, how he wants his first sentence to encapsulate the entire story. Now, that is a tall ask. I don't necessarily need the first sentence to do that, but there are some first sentences that stand out amongst others. There's two already that I can think of that I've read this year that I still think about all the time. The books were amazing, but the first sentences absolutely packed a punch, and I physically had a response to them. I immediately stopped reading, looked around, and was like, oh my goodness, I've found a classic. Let's go dive into this book. So that's the type of response you can have from a terrific, well-crafted first sentence. So we're going to rank them. We're looking from S tier, A tier, all the way down to, unfortunately, there are some out there that are just trash. They do nothing to move the story along. They don't actually provide anything. As I said, I don't need the first sentence to summarize the whole story for me, but I am keen to see the writer establish their style, their tone. I want to know what I'm in for, and I want that first sentence to reflect the whole story. I want you to tell me something about the scale and the scope of the story. That's particularly important when it comes to fantasy and sometimes as well for sci-fi. How large is this world that I'm about to dive in? I also want to see you build intrigue. I want you to want me to come back for more. And one of the best ways to do that is to make me ask a question in reading that first sentence. There is no better way that I know to build intrigue than to make me ask a question. You've engaged my brain. You've got me wanting to stick around, to read the second, to read the third, and then not move until I've read all 1,100 pages that you've got on offer. The one thing I'm going to cheat on is I haven't actually read the first book this year. I've read it in the past, but because Marcus Zusak inspired this idea, the first book that we're going to do is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. The one thing I will say, it's quite hard doing this because, every single author, they just love to have an introduction, a prologue, a letter from the author to the reader, and everyone loves to put a quote at the top of each of the chapters. So I'm just going to cherry pick. I'll pick the ones that I like. So here we go. First, the colors, then the humans. That's usually how I see things, or at least how I try. Here is a small fact. You are going to die. Now, this is good. This is why I'm sort of cheating and then starting with this one, because this is a good first sentence. Even just the use of the word humans, it tells me a little bit about the narrator. I already have questions, and I acknowledge it's probably my bias because I've read the book, but I'm not convinced that you or I would describe each other as humans if we were to talk about what it is that we see. We would talk about people. We would talk about the man, the children, the group of people. We don't necessarily refer to each other as humans. So it makes me wonder, is the narrator human? And so I like that. It's got intrigue attached to it. And then the juxtaposition between small fact, you are going to die. That's really good. That tells me as well something about the author and the way that they are going to craft this story. So The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Where are we? Here it is. This is a good start. It's not S tier. No, it's not that, because I'm already thinking about the other two that I know of that are just so far and away better than this one. But this is A. You could argue B. I'm a tough critic, but I'm going to sit it in A at this point in time, and I expect some others to pop in front of it in that tier. So that's the first one that we're going to do. Next, we're going to dive into some lit RPG. The next book we've got is from Matt Dinnerman, and this is Dungeon Crawler Carl's The Anarchist Cookbook. The world rumbled, the ground shook. I stumbled backward the moment we appeared, but I was held upright by a metal wall. Lights flashed in quick staccato, pulsing on either side of the long, thin room. I felt the thump, thump, thump under my feet. We were in a long plastic and metal tube that vibrated and thundered. So this is good. I cheated here. I read a little bit more because the sentences were so short. And that in itself tells me enough about the way that this book is going to read. The world rumbled, 1. The ground shook, 2. You can see how quickly he's punching through these sentences. But it's built intrigue. I want to know where we are. What's going on? Why are things thumping? Why are things rattling? This is not too bad. I'm interested in what the world is doing. This is a solid first sentence. I'm not going to muck around here. We've got a lot of Dungeon Crawler Carl to get through. 6 out of 7 books released thus far. But this is a B. This is a solid B. Well done, Matt Dinnerman. That's good. The next book we're going to look at is by Robert Jackson Bennett, and this is The Tainted Cup. This is the other thing they do is they put maps and hierarchies and all sorts of stuff. And so you're scrolling through 55 pages before you get to the first chapter. But here we go. The walls of the estate emerged from the morning fog before me, long and dark and rounded like the skin of some beached sea creature. Again, that's good. Very descriptive, right? Like I am now expecting the author to continually describe the world in which we're seeing, and I like it. It also tells me potentially about some of the animals. I'm not sure we would call a beached whale or a seal on the beach a sea creature. Again, maybe I'm biased because I know I'm reading a fantasy novel, but that tells me a little bit about something as well. The description that the narrator has gone for, the protagonist has gone for, relates to the ocean, or the sea at least. So that's good. I've learned something from there. It's good. It's not great. It hasn't necessarily told me anything about the scale or the size, the scope of things, but that's good. The Tainted Cup. That's Drop of Corruption. Now I've got to find it in amongst all of these silly books. Here we go. Tainted Cup. I'm not offended by this. That's a B. I'm happy with that. That's a B. All right. The next book is Poor Charlie's Almanac by Charlie Munger. Behind the extraordinary story of Berkshire Hathaway are 2 financial geniuses, the widely acclaimed Warren Buffett and his silent partner, Charlie Munger, who relishes his obscurity. And so what's going to be really challenging straight away about what I'm doing is I read across a large breadth of genres. You can see the challenge that I'm going to have comparing fantasy and sci-fi to nonfiction. So I'm going to try and not judge them against each other. What is it trying to achieve within its own genre? We'll try with that. The silent partner, Charlie Munger, who relishes his obscurity. So that's nice. Like that works well with what I know of Warren and Charlie and watching them on stage. It has me interested in Charlie in particular, being a silent partner. Okay, why? What's going on there? And who relishes his obscurity. And yet here I am reading a book about his life work. I like it. It doesn't jump off the page for me. You could have done something a little bit different. It's okay. It's not offensive. But we've got our first C. We're coming down. I can't help but feel like I'm biased here because it's not the world building of science fiction or fantasy, but I don't mind it to begin with. So it's a solid C. It's not an offensive C. We're not the trash territory. Solid C. Okay, next up, we've got Cerce by Madeline Miller. And dear readers, a note from the author, just give me the book. When I was born, the name for what I was did not exist. So I like that. That's good. When I was born, the name for what I did, for what I was, did not exist. Yeah, I'm not even going to read any more. That's really good. I've got intrigue. I'm like, okay, well, what were you? What are you? Were you deformed in some way, or were you just different? Is it your physical appearance that makes you different, or your personality and everything about you? No, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, well done, Madeline. Yeah, I'm cool with this. This is A. This is good A. It could even be better than The Book Thief. I'm just going to leave it there for the moment. That's good. I want to read more of that. Okay, back into the fantasy. And the next one we've got is Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. More maps, more acknowledgements. Ash fell from the sky. I'm not going to read anymore because I don't need to read anymore. That is a terrific first sentence. It sets the tone of the book immediately. It tells me about the world and how dark and grim it is. I want to know why. Why is ash falling from the sky? Tell me more about this world and how it is that we got here. Sanderson does not waste words, and he hasn't with that first sentence. That is pretty good. And so this is where I immediately know that my Book Thief one is wrong. Madeline Miller is in front of that. Sanderson is in front of that as well. Solid A tier. Well done, Sanderson. There's 2 more of you to come in this list. That is a good first sentence. Good start. I feel like I have to keep coming back to Matt Dinnerman because there's so many of them in here. So the next one I've got from Matt Dinnerman is The Eye of the Bedlam Bride. Book number 6, I think. Okay. Donut and I stepped through the door of the globe chamber into the rotunda of a large empty room made of marble and tile. Yeah, it's not doing it for me. I feel guilty doing this as well because I've thoroughly enjoyed everything about these books, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not ranking the books. I'm ranking the first sentences. The Eye of the Bedlam Bride. Sorry, Matt. That was not great. That was trash. Just be better next time, and I won't have to give you that ranking. Something else that I've been doing this year is reading stories with my daughter. Not that I wouldn't read these stories myself, but it's fun to read them with her. And so this is C.S. Lewis, The Chronicles of Narnia, and this is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I appreciate this, thank you. Like 4 pages and we get to start the book, not 25. Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. This story is about something that happened to them when they were sent away from London during the war because of the air raids. Okay, so this is good. It's giving me the context in terms of the time setting and what's involved. It talks to me about who the main characters are going to be, these 4 children. And it's about something that happened to them. Okay, you could probably do more with that, Lewis. I'll say that much, which is a bit rich, me giving C.S. Lewis advice on writing technique, but I'm doing it anyway because this is my channel. I like it, but I don't love it. Okay, that's cool. This one, because Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Yeah, it's better than Charlie, but it's nothing special. It's not offensive. There was no Bedlam Bride. Yeah, okay. A solid C. A solid C for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Next, another non-fiction. We have The Expectation Effect by David Robson. It was just a few nights before Christmas, and the drones seemed to be everywhere and nowhere, all at the same time. Okay, now this is good. That contrast between the drones were everywhere and then they were nowhere. This is cool. I'm like, hey, well, what do you mean? That doesn't make sense. Tell me more. Explain that, please. I also work in the aviation industry, and it's hilarious the number of times that people report drones and there's absolutely nothing there. What they're seeing is a satellite or an aircraft flying overhead at flight level 360, and they're convinced that we're being attacked by a drone at 50 feet above the ground. This is good. It built intrigue. I want to know more. Explain this story to me. That's top of B. That's good. It hasn't rocked my socks, but you've got me picturing things. You've got my imagination going. Well done, Robson. So the next book we've got, we'll continue with the non-fiction themed, and it's Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. One of the best books I've ever read, but I'm not talking about the whole book. Let's focus and talk about the first sentence. This one's hard as well. You'd give me an introduction. You'd give me a preface. You'd give me a preface to the 1992 edition. I'm just going to have to start here. This book does not claim to be an account of facts and events, but of personal experiences. Experiences which millions of prisoners have suffered time and again. I can work with that. It's framing my expectations for this non-fiction novel. I shouldn't go out there trying to ground truth absolutely everything that is spoken, because it's a story about people's personal experiences. I wasn't there. This is how they remembered it. It's good. It doesn't do the story justice, though. You could do so much more for Man's Search for Meaning in the first sentence than what they've done. So that's a little bit disappointing. It's good without being offensive, but not good enough given how awesome this book is. And I just realized I don't have the little book. Why do I not have the book? I do have the book. Here it is, Man's Search for Meaning. Yeah, it's a C. Not as good as Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. You gave me a little bit more in terms of the context there, but better than Charlie. C. Okay, next up, we've got The Medici Heist by Caitlin Schneiderhan. Sorry, Caitlin. The Medici Heist by Caitlin Schneiderhan. You quite clearly I can't say that. Schneiderhan. The mud was from the banks of the Arno River, but also it was from the banks of the Arno River inside the city walls. So it was probably not entirely mud. I like that. So this is slightly different from all the ones that we've read thus far. A little bit of humour thrown in there, and it's subtle humour. It's asking you to imagine exactly what they're talking about without throwing it in your face like the mud that they're describing. Conversational. I am now assuming that my protagonist is slightly younger. This is not a 56-year-old learned gentleman. It's setting the scene, the Arno River, so I now know that I'm in Florence, if my geography is good enough. So this is cool. I like that. Again, not offensive, not terrific, but it's working. Okay. Different cover to the one that I've got. Yeah. I like the subtle humour. That's nice. This is a B. Good. Good. I'm just being like really lazy and picking all the books that are immediately on my table rather than having to stand up and grab those ones. So the next one we've got is another nonfiction. It's Raising Lions by Joe Newman. I'm a dad. I've got some really stubborn kids. So this is why I got this book. So I'm trying to raise a lion because they're already lions. And so I need to figure out how to actually manage them. I stood at the window of the isolation room, attempting a look of disinterest. On the other side, 8-year-old Madison screeched at the top of her voice and banged her fists violently against the plexiglass. Yeah. Okay. You're building a story. I want to know where this story is going to go. Why is 8-year-old Madison screeching and banging her fists against the plexiglass? And I think I'm getting an insight into the technique that you're going to describe around raising lions, where you're not attacking this front on, you're attempting a look of disinterest. Okay. All right. You're framing me well here, Joe. I appreciate that. Again, it's good. It's not offensive. The humor was probably better from Caitlin, I think. Again, they're trying to achieve two different things. You're entertaining versus you're educating. So I'm going to, nonetheless, it's better than what was happening with Victor's. Victor's was not great. I've probably been generous there on Victor just because it's like my all-time favorite nonfiction book. Okay, top of C. So I'm probably being a little harsh here. I don't know. That probably, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to undo that now. I'm just being too kind to the book that I like. Top of C. Beast of a book, Dune by Frank Herbert. And I'm going to read the actual text, not all of the diary entries by Princess Irulan. Irulan. That's how I say it. I'm going to go with that. Princess Irulan. In the week before their departure to Arrakis, when all the final scurrying about had reached a nearly unbearable frenzy, an old crone came to visit the mother of the boy, Paul. So this is good. It tells me a fair bit about who and what is important. There are two things mentioned by name here, and it's not the mother of the boy. Lady Jessica doesn't get mentioned by name. It's Arrakis and Paul. That's good. You've told me what's important. I love the use of the word crone. I'm picturing exactly what the Bene Gesserit are. This hunched over woman who's quite wise, but you're not quite sure how to take her. She's seen a lot, and she's unattractive to look at. I really like that word crone. No, but Dune's good. Yeah, it's in here, I reckon. No, not as good as the expectation effect. The story that you're telling there is better. This is a solid B. Solid B in terms of first sentence. That feels harsh to describe Dune anything other than top tier. Back to Matt Dinnerman we go, and this is The Butcher's Masquerade. I came into existence in a now familiar office. The hooded figure of Oren, the Grim Reaper-like syndicate liaison, sat at his cluttered desk, staring at me, hands steepled in front of him. Yeah. Okay, Dinnerman, that's significantly better than I'm the Bedlam Bride. I came into existence in a now familiar room. I didn't wake up. I didn't stir. I came into existence. That's so much cooler. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sweet. Butcher's Masquerade. You're immediately out of the trash. Immediately. I wish I could remember what I read in the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook. Came into existence. Yeah, okay. We're going in here. It's not as cool as I don't think as the Arrakis Paul really pulling out and how much it downplayed Lady Jessica. Solid V for Matt Dinnerman in The Butcher's Masquerade. Second book in the Mistborn series, The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Got to get past Sanderson's diagrams and maps. All right, here we go. The army crept like a dark stain across the horizon. Oh, Sanderson is good. So he uses so few words. The army crept like a dark stain across the horizon. Immediately, I'm picturing the scale of what we're talking about, because a small, narrow-in army of 1,000 men does not earn the right of a dark stain across the horizon. I'm conjuring up images of King Xerxes and his army of hundreds of thousands marching across the plains, their arrows blotting out the sun. Yeah, no, good. That is good. I liked this. Where are you at? Not Hero of Ages. Well of Ascension. Boom. Oh, was it better? Ash fell from the sky. Dark stain. Yeah, no, it's better. No, it's better. Absolutely. Oh, Madeline still holding out top spot there. Well done. This is getting closer to top of A. That was good. As I record this, it's the 20th of November. The second book in the Hierarchy series came out on the 11th of November. I pre-ordered it and my book still hasn't arrived. And I've resisted the temptation to download the audiobook or the Kindle edition to read it. Oh, everyone pray for me. Give me strength. But we're not talking about the second. We're talking about the first. And this is The Will of the Many by James Islington. Great Australian author who is on to a good thing, I am sure of it. You're going to get slightly more than the first sentence here, and you'll see why. I am dangling, and it is only my father's blood-slicked grip around my wrist that stops me from falling. He is on his stomach, stretched out over the rocky ledge. His muscles are corded. Sticky red covers his face, his arms, his clothes, everything I can see. Yet I know he can pull me up. I do everything I can not to struggle. I trust him to save me. He looks over my shoulder, into the inky black, into the darkness that is to come. Courage, he whispers. He pours heartbreak and hope into the word. He lets go. So good. So good. You're just building up this anticipation and this relationship, this trust, this love that you've got between father and son. And why are they there? Why are you dangling off the edge of a cliff? Why is there blood-slicked hands all over this? But you've got complete trust in your dad. And he lets go. Why does he let go? Oh, this is good. Will of the Many. We've got our first S tier. James Islington, well done. That, and I'm cheating, it's not a first sentence. It's the first 8 sentences, little mini paragraph. That is terrific. That's how you hook someone into a story. Well done, sir. You'll get more accolades from me, I'm sure, in my end of year wrap up. Well done. I can't wait to read your second. Please hurry up and get it to me. Will of the Many by James Islington, S tier, first sentence. Just to come down off those heights, we've got another from C.S. Lewis, and this is The Magician's Nephew. Again, Lewis, I appreciate you for your 4 pages before you start the book. This is a story about something that happened long ago when your grandfather was a child. Yeah, okay. Writing's come a long way since Lewis wrote this. I've read some other classics, and I'm just not sure they feel as dated as what that is. This is a story about a long time ago when your grandfather was a child. It's not doing it for me. Better than Bedlam Bride, but not much better. I'm sorry, Lewis. Like the greatest writer of all time. That was trash. Just to prove that I have read other classics, this year I read The Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. And this one I know is often spoken about. as the greatest first sentence or the top tier first sentence. And I will say Dickens learned the benefit of a full stop. And here we go. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. Oh, I can't say that word. Incredulity. Incredulity. It was the epoch of incredulity. It still sounds wrong. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. In short, the period was so far like the present period that some of its noisiest authorities insisted on it being received for good or for evil in the superlative degree of comparison only. Yeah, okay, Dickens, like, you've mastered the English language. Please put full stops in. That was all one sentence, just comma after comma. And there was a bit of an end dash in there, but still, it's not a full stop. It was good. The way in which he's crafted a sentence that everyone can feel applies to them and their time tells me that this man was a student of people around him, a student of society. That's pretty good. It's hard for me not to put this in S tier, but I'm going to punish you for your unwillingness to use a full stop. In complete contrast, you've got Sanderson, who uses 7 words and achieves almost the same. Yeah. Okay. Well done, Sanderson. Dickens, though, still, it was good. Like, I get it. I understand why it's on everyone's list. But just use a full stop, perhaps. Just break it up for me. Appreciate you.
Oh, no, that hurt. That hurt my soul.
Oh, so lucky. It's the one that's got the plasticky thing that I'm sure is just shining everywhere. I haven't read this one yet.
Okay. That's right. Relax. Thank you.
Oh, that hurt. Pierce Brown, Golden Sun. Now, these might have spoilers in them as well. Should probably say that, right? My silence thunders. I stand on the bridge of my starship, arm broken and held in a gel cast. Iron burns still raw on my neck. I'm bloody damn tired. My razor coils around my good right arm like a cold metal snake. Okay, I'll stop reading because I'm going to read so much. I'm bloody damn tired. Now, so that's good. Silence thunders. Yeah, I love the way that people try and do that all the time. I stand on the bridge of my starship. For anyone who's come off reading Red Rising, and then that's the opening line to book number 2, you immediately get an appreciation of the scale and how much that is increased. So with that context as well, that is really impactful. You're building those questions. Okay, why are you injured? What's going on there? Okay, I'm actually surprised. Like, it was good, but it's not great. Okay, I'm going to have to be honest. Where are you, Golden Sun? Down the bottom here. No, I'm being too generous. It's mid-B. Dune was better. You told me more what was going on in Dune. Golden Sun. Okay, this B. I'm a little disappointed now. Loved this. A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. Book number 2 in the series. We've got the same maps, got a few extra maps. We've got a hierarchy. Okay. Ooh. Before there was memory, before there was history, there were the Leviathans. Oh, it's good. No, that's good. I don't want to read the next bit. There's a colon there. The colossal monstrous creatures that lumbered. Okay, I will read. Before there was memory, before there was history, there were Leviathans. The colossal monstrous creatures that lumbered ashore each wet season and went wandering the plains, bringing death and panic with them. For centuries, the folk of the land lived at their whim and knew only fear and suffering. No, that's good. Before there was memory, before there was history, there was Leviathans. No, that's cool. That's, yeah, no, good. Very good. Jackson Bennett, thank you very much. And it gives that element of hope towards the end. For centuries, the folk of the land lived at their whim. They knew only fear and suffering, suggesting that's not the case anymore. But that's a really good opening sentence, or 2 asterisks on sentence.
Burn. Yeah. No, I prefer that. That's even Circe. Sorry. Nah, you just been trumped. Drop of corruption. Top of A. That was really good. I'm getting more nervous now, grabbing the books from the top shelf. Surely I'm getting to the end of all of my Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinnerman. This one is Carl's Doomsday scenario. We teleported straight from the green room to a long golden hallway, reminiscent of the first hallway we had entered. Nah. I'm not even sure if... Did Dinnerman just write the entire story and then just to go, oh, that'll do. That'll be the end of the first book. Yeah, that's approximately the end of the second book. I guess that is exactly what he's doing. It's this continuous story, just level after level. There is no respite. There is no break. I guess that's the whole point. But in terms of what I'm doing right here and assessing the quality of the first sentence, sorry, Matt, it's trash. When you compare them to the other, like... The next book we have is an investing book, and it's Rule Breaker Investing by David Gardner. I don't remember a lot from 4th grade, but one thing I'll never forget. Okay. Like everyone's been to 4th grade. Everyone has a story they can remember from 4th grade. You're drawing on that. I guess I'm intrigued. I'm interested to know that, okay, what is the thing that you will never forget about 4th grade? Oh, it's so hard to judge these books against the fantasy books when you just look at the scale. Because I guess you can't just like annihilate worlds and leviathans in the real world all the time. This is difficult. Rule breaker investing. Yeah, you've got intrigue. You've got a few things going there. It's definitely better than Man's Search for Meaning. It's in here. It's middle C. Middle of C. Thank you, David. Rounding out our Sanderson experience, we have The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, the 3rd book in the Mistborn series. Let's see if our man of few words continues to back it up and gives me another 5 to 8 word sentence that packs a punch. Skipping through my 55 pages of diagrams. I'm skipping the prologue as well. That is a good one. I'll read them both. We'll see. The actual chapter 1. Fatron squinted up at the red sun, which hid behind its perpetual screen of dark haze. Yeah. Less good. And the prologue? Better. Marsh struggled to kill himself. Okay. I much prefer the first one, but just to be controversial, I'm going to look at the second. Fatron squinted up at the red sun, which hid behind its perpetual screen of dark haze. It's doing a bit, but relative to the other Sanderson novels, too much. Too many words. Not enough said. Perpetual screen of dark haze. Why introduce Fatron as well when we know the role that he's going to play? You've decided the first word of your entire book needs to be his name. I expect more. Hero of Ages. Mid-C, mid to top C. Sorry, Sanderson. Oh well. Morning Star by Pierce Brown, the 3rd book in the Red Rising trilogy. This one will give away spoilers. Skip ahead if you haven't read the first 2. Deep in darkness, far from warmth and sun and moons, I lie, quiet as the stone that surrounds me, imprisoning my hunched body in a dreadful wound. I cannot stand, cannot stretch. I can only curl in a ball, a withered fossil of a man that was, hands cuffed behind my back, naked, on cold rock, all alone with the dark. It's very descriptive of the current circumstance for our protagonist. Why and how? Yeah, really interesting. You've got to read the first 2 to figure that one out. But it's very descriptive. And you get a real strong indication of how much the current circumstances suck for our protagonist. This is good. It's not a world beater. It's solid without doing anything outrageous. You've got my mind working. I can picture very clearly what it is that you're talking about, and I know that I don't want to be there. It was probably better than Golden Sun. It was definitely better than Golden Sun. I was probably too generous there with Golden Sun. But it's going to sit there right in the middle as well. Think I preferred Dune, perhaps. Yeah, I'm getting a solid little bell curve here. Mid-B. The Gate of the Feral Gods by Matt. What the sh*? I said, seeing the notification. Nobody had warned me our bounties would double. Mordecai hadn't mentioned it, nor had I seen it listed in the cookbook. I wondered if that was a new thing. Those Oh, I love the prose. Again, Dinnaman's not doing well in this. Given that I read more words of Dinnaman's this entire year than any other, I quite clearly wasn't too fazed by his first sentences. But it's still trash. Like, oh, yeah, I'm going with gut instinct. Sorry, dude. Turn the Ship Around by David Marquet. Single best leadership book that I've ever read. Our greatest struggle is within ourselves. When I was doing year 12 English, end of high school, I remember my English teacher describing sentences as treat them like a little piece of chocolate, dark chocolate. You just want to give them this like a little nibble and be like, yeah, that's a nice little bit of chocolate. Might have another. Our greatest struggles are from within ourselves. I agree. So that tells me that this book is going to be challenging our internal perceptions of something, our own limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves and our capacity or those around us. Okay. Yeah. I have to remind myself that this is a thinking man's book. I'm not getting this world building where it's descriptive and I can just go and explore and daydream in that. I'm analyzing something. So, yeah. Okay. I mean, I prefer that to Dickens's 726 words for his first sentence. I don't know why I put Dickens up in that. Like, it was good. Yeah, fair enough. Turn the Ship Around. Solid A. Nice. The Christmas Guest, a novella by Peter Swanson. It's like my first novella that I've ever read. It was enjoyable. And I just went past like 3 Charles Dickens quotes. Since I have no family of my own, I am yearly asked by my friends and colleagues to their homes for Christmas holidays. That's nothing. Like, see, unremarkable. Not trash, not insulting, but meh. Okay. Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club. Well, let's start with Elizabeth, shall we? And see where that gets us. Conversational. You almost feel like they're immediately breaking down the fourth wall, which is kind of this book in a nutshell. Intrigue, I guess. Where are you going to take us? How's that going to work? Quite clearly not as intrigued as other first sentences that I've read. It was better than Swanson's just then. Middle of C. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. What's 2 plus 2? Something about the question irritates me. I'm tired. I drift back to sleep. A few minutes pass, then I hear it again. What's 2 plus 2? So that's good. Such a simple question. What's 2 plus 2? Why can't he answer it? Why has he been asleep? Why does that question irritate him? It's got lots of questions. Why are you so tired? Why are you drifting back to sleep? Notice a difference here in the language use. I drifted back to sleep versus the Matt Dinnerman, I came into existence. That's why I liked the other one so much. No, this is good. This invokes questions. What's wrong with him? Why is someone asking him such simple questions? Does he have a brain injury? Yeah. Okay. No, this is good. Again, good without being a world beater. Top of B. The expectation effect was really good. The drones were everywhere and nowhere. Nah, I'm doing it. That feels better. That feels better. Andy Weir, though, that was top of B. That was good. The next book is At the Stroke of Midnight by Jenny Kerr. Before time completely stopped for Pearl Glenham, she was more concerned with stealing it. So that's good. Before time completely stopped. I wonder, so has she died? Is that what's going on? Or is it something different to that? So it's got that intrigue. You've told me who the lead character is, or at least who I expect to be the lead character here. Don't tell me about some sub-character in the first sentence. Pearl Glenham? Pearl. Who calls their daughter Pearl? Pearl anymore? No, okay, this is good. I've got questions. I've probably been real generous there with Golden Sun. So let's split that up. This is probably better than Golden Sun, wasn't it? This one I know you're all excited about. No Higher Priority by three gentlemen, Peter Jennings, Michael Shoebridge, and Marcus Hellier. Again, this is a challenging one. Like I said, you guys will be excited by this. Australia has long sought security by being engaged in world affairs, often fighting wars in distant locations because we saw our security as intimately tied to the stability of other democracies. Okay, you've told me a bit about your biases and the approach that you're going to be taking to this book on Australia's defence strategy. We saw it intimately tied to this. So it tells me that you are also a believer or cognizant of or want to talk about the global rules-based order and Australia's role in that. You haven't necessarily invoked any intrigue on me. You've said for a long time sought security by doing this, implying that's no longer sufficient. I guess there's intrigue. What do you now think has replaced this as the new normal? It's good without lighting the world on fire, which is hard to do for a book on strategy and defence strategy in particular, Australian defence strategy. So it's hard to get excited by that. It's better than the Rule Breaker Investors, what happened in fourth grade. So we'll go there, middle of C. Geez, it's hard to compare and contrast non-fiction, as exciting as this is, to something like Red Rising. But there we go. I mentioned Red Rising, so that's what we're going to do next. Pierce Brown's first book in the Red Rising series, Red Rising. I would have lived in peace, but my enemies brought me war. I watched 1,200 of their strongest sons and daughters, listening to a pitiless gold man speak between great marble pillars, listening to the beast who brought the flame that gnaws at my heart. So God. I would have lived in peace, but my enemies brought me war. Yes. Yes. I'm ready to go and fight and die with you, whoever is saying this. Probably Darrow. It's Darrow. No, this is good. Let's not beat around the bush here. Or is it better than The Will of the Many? No, it's not. The Will of the Many, the way that it builds up, has you on that story, and then all of a sudden it's like, and he let go. Oh, that got me right in the feels. This one, it starts off at that high point, and it's just motivational speech right from the get-go. I would have lived in peace, but my enemies brought me war. No, that's good. Red Rising, that's S tier. That is high quality. Pierce Brown, well done, sir. Robert Galbraith's The Hallmarked Man. Galbraith is one that just has these poems at the top of every single chapter. I actually just give up reading them. I'm not smart enough to figure out who and what and how it relates to the story. Ah, well. The windscreen wipers had been working their hardest ever since the BMW had entered the county of Kent. Their sporific swish and clunk aggravating Cormoran Strike's exhaustion as he stared out through thick rain, which had turned the deserted road ahead to gleaming jet. Yeah. Okay, you're on the road. You're in Kent. You've told me where you are. You've told me you're the lead protagonist, Cormoran Strike. They're exhausted. It's raining. You've already told me that because you told me you were in Kent. Deserted road. Okay, why are you on a deserted road? Why are you going? Why are you out driving around in the rain? Oh, because you're in Kent. Underwhelmed? Underwhelmed. It's not trash, is it? You use the word soporific. Is that how you say the word? Sporific? Soporific? Wish I knew what that word was. I don't know. The more I talk about it, the more I'm feeling underwhelmed. Bottom of C. Oh, it might be too harsh. I've got no higher priority above it. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. Bottom of C. That's where I felt pulled. The next book is Loving God by Charles Colson. It was a glorious Easter Sunday, the spring sun sparkling and warm, the air fresh and sweet. Too nice a day to spend in prison, but that was where I was bound. Oh, that's good. That's really good. From a non-fiction book, that was terrific. You're building up this beautiful, fluffy picture of Easter Sunday, and we've all got fond memories of spending time with family on Easter Sunday and eating chocolate and seeing the joy of kids running around, doing an Easter egg hunt. And the sun is sparkling, the air is fresh and sweet, invoking all these beautiful memories. But not a day to spend in prison, because that is where I was bound. You've got that intrigue. Why were you in prison, sir? Particularly when you see the world the way that you've just described. What were you doing there? No, that was good. For a non-fiction, Charles Colson, Loving God, well done. Top of A, mid to top of A, well done. C.S. Lewis, The Horse and His Boy. I've been critical of Lewis thus far. This is the story. He's so old-fashioned. This is the story of an adventure that happened in Narnia and Calaman and the lands between. In the golden age when Peter was High King in Narnia and his brother and his two sisters were king and queens under him. Okay, well, this is better. Like, you're setting the scene, you're setting the time period, which is probably necessary when you jump in and around the way that you've done with your books. It was the golden age. You've told me a little bit about it. You've told me about Peter, but you've more or less just referenced them. I'm not convinced yet that they're going to be the lead characters. And you told me where it's going to be, Narnia, Calaman, the lands between. Okay, so that's not too bad. You're quite descriptive. Again, this is a story. Okay, you do this all the time. C.S. Lewis. I think that's better. Not as good as that. That one was better. Existence. Yeah. There. That feels all right. Middle of B. Middle to bottom of B. Okay. Rubicon by Tom Holland. In the beginning, before the Republic, Rome was ruled by kings. Nah. You could have done so much more with that. Now, I did have to go past 3 quotes by Caesar, 2 stories by Cicero. There was some Stoicism stuff there as well. So, like, I appreciate I haven't read the first thing that Tom Holland put on paper, but that's the first sentence, the first chapter. Et tu, Brutus? I don't know. Like, you could have given me something. Nah. I feel bad about this one because the options you had available to you, and I ignored some of them, I admit that. But nope. It's trash. Didn't like it. It's trash. The last book we're going to do, the original Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinnerman. Ooh. The transformation occurred at approximately 2:23 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. As far as I could tell, anyone who was indoors when it happened died instantly. Yeah, cool. All right. Like, you've built that intrigue, very specific, 2:33 a.m., like, fair enough. Transformation. Would have I used the word transformation if I was Dinnerman? Probably not. I don't have another word that's coming to mind straight away, but not the word that I would use. And it's not really a Dinnerman word, the transformation. Interesting. It's got me asking questions. It's solid without being a world beater. Boom, you're coming in here. Middle of B. What I've discovered is Dungeon Crawler Carl's opening sentences are not that impressive. In comparison, Sanderson is a craftsman when it comes to his limited use of the words and the way that he can set the scene. Robert Jackson Burnett did really well. But the two, and they're telling, these are some of my favourite books for the entire year. James Islington's The Will of the Many. That was an absolute banger. The suspense that you built, the trust that I had in that relationship, and then you just broke it, seemingly broke it right there, 3 sentences in. And then Red Rising, you get a sense of the injustice and how charismatic and motivational as a speaker our lead character Darrow is as well, right from the get-go. They are clear highlights, and you can see they are the two. Those 2 openings have stuck with me all year. And I read these books back in February and April, and it's now November, and those 2 opening lines have stuck with me for such a long time. So that was fun. I was surprised by some of those, disappointed in others, and thoroughly enjoyed reading those top two, those S tier ones again. So that wraps up this. These are those first sentences. I'm interested which one of these is a trash take from my perspective and deserves to either not be anywhere near A tier or in fact needs to come out of the trash and push its way all the way up to S tier. Let me know in the comments below. And do me a favor, smash the like button. If you're still here, you've obviously liked this enough to hang around. Hit the like button for me. Hit a subscribe. Let's get that algorithm thing happening because I'm keen for more of you to hear these random Aussie accented ramblings. Until next time, ciao.